Somewhere within the company structure, right now, there's an open spreadsheet. Your name is on it. Next to your name is a number. The number represents the cost of keeping you versus the cost of removing you. And if you received a performance improvement plan in the last 90 days, the math has already been done. The decision preceded the document. What you're holding is not a roadmap to success. It's a liability waiver with your signature line at the bottom. They told you it's a tool for growth. They used words like support, alignment, opportunity. They scheduled the meeting carefully. Your manager rehearsed the phrasing. HR was present to ensure compliance. The tone was concerned, almost parental, and every single word of that performance was designed to make what comes next legally defensible when you're gone. Here's what no one inside that building will ever say out loud. The PIP is not a plan, it's a countdown. And the clock is not ticking toward your improvement, it's ticking toward your exit. The performance improvement plan is, before anything else, a legal document, not a coaching tool, not a second chance, a piece of evidence in a case that hasn't been filed yet. In at-will employment jurisdictions, the company doesn't technically need a reason to fire you, but corporate legal learned long ago that at-will is a theoretical shield, not a practical one. A terminated employee can file for unemployment. They can claim wrongful termination. They can contact the EEOC. They can attract a lawyer who works on contingency. Each of those outcomes creates cost. Each creates risk. The PIP exists to neutralize that risk. It exists to show good faith, to demonstrate that the company tried, that warnings were given, that performance was measured, that the employee was given every opportunity and simply failed to meet the standard. The PIP is the paper trail that says we had no choice. In most internal legal reviews, if it isn't in writing, it didn't happen. The PIP is the writing. You are not being coached. You are being papered. The file is being built. And one day, that file will be opened in front of a mediator, a hearing officer, or a plaintiff's attorney. At which point the company will produce it and say, "Look, we tried." You become evidence in a case you didn't know was being prepared. Industry estimates place the termination rate following a PIP somewhere between 70 and 80%. The exact number varies by company, but the directional truth is stable. For most organizations, the PIP is not a recovery mechanism. It is a documentation protocol. The phrase used internally is managing out. A decision is made, often weeks or months before the formal document is issued, that the employee is no longer a fit. The reasons are sometimes performance-related, but they are just as often budget-related, political, relational, or the result of a new manager wanting to bring in their own people. Once that decision is made, the PIP becomes the mechanism through which a predetermined outcome is executed on a defensible timeline. The meetings that follow, the goals that are set, the feedback that is delivered, it is choreography. The outcome is not in question, only the documentation is. The word to hold on to here is pretextual. In a meaningful share of cases, the stated reason is not the operative reason. The document says performance. The spreadsheet says headcount reduction. The employee is told one story. The file tells another. Read your PIP carefully. If the goals are vague, subjective, or measured against standards that don't exist anywhere else in the organization, the document is not a plan. It is a trap. Phrases like demonstrate more executive presence, be more proactive, show stronger ownership, improve stakeholder perception. These are not measurable. They cannot be achieved in any objective sense because they cannot be evaluated in any objective sense. The manager retains total discretion. You can work 90 hours a week and still be told your presence hasn't improved. If the metrics appear concrete, watch for the second pattern: moving goalposts. The target on week 2 is not the target on week 6. The deliverable requested on Monday becomes the wrong deliverable by Friday. Feedback shifts. Priorities reverse. You are chasing a finish line that relocates every time you approach it. The third variant is the impossible workload. You are placed on a plan that requires output no one in the role has ever produced, with fewer resources than you had before the plan began. Failure is the structural outcome. The plan is not asking whether you can improve. It is asking how quickly you will break. Every one of these patterns is weaponization. The metrics have been turned against the person they are supposedly measuring, and the person measuring them knows it. The PIP rarely arrives without warning. It is almost always preceded by what researchers and employment attorneys call quiet firing, a slow, coordinated withdrawal of the conditions that allow you to do your job well. You start getting left off email threads you used to be on. Decisions are made without you. Meetings happen in rooms you're no longer invited to. When you ask, you're told they weren't relevant, even though they clearly were. Your contributions in the meetings you still attend go unacknowledged. Praise that used to come regularly has dried up completely. Projects you owned are reassigned without announcement. Requests for one-on-one time get rescheduled, shortened, or held standing in a hallway rather than in the focused sessions that used to happen. This is recognition starvation, and it is deliberate. The goal is to create an environment in which continued presence becomes psychologically unsustainable before the formal process even begins. In the post-pandemic era, return-to-office mandates have been folded into the same toolkit. A manager who wants you gone can simply enforce the commute, the seating assignment, the in-person meeting cadence with sudden rigor, knowing that for a significant portion of targeted employees, the pressure alone will produce what the industry calls self-ejection. The voluntary resignation that costs the company nothing in severance, nothing in unemployment, and nothing in legal exposure. Task manipulation works the same way. The interesting work gets reassigned. The administrative residue gets piled on. You conclude the job has changed, that it's no longer worth doing, and you leave. The file closes with zero liability. Here's the part no one talks about. Many employees perform worse once the PIP begins, not better. The plan itself becomes the stressor. Sleep deteriorates, concentration fragments. Written communication, planning, judgment, the higher order functions the job actually depends on, become harder to execute under sustained pressure. Researchers studying workplace termination have described this under frameworks like the Integrative Trauma Recovery and Adaptation Model, which maps the acute stress phase as peri-traumatic distress. You don't need a clinical label to recognize the mechanism. You are being asked, while destabilized by the process itself, to perform above the level you were performing at before the process began. The drop-off that management then documents is frequently produced by the plan, not revealed by it. This feedback loop is one of the least acknowledged features of the modern PIP, and it's one of the reasons self-blame is so common among employees going through it. Recognizing the mechanism is the first step toward engaging the process from a position that is not purely defensive. Human resources during a performance process is not functioning as a neutral mediator. It is operating as a compliance function of the corporate legal and risk apparatus. Its working objective during a PIP is to ensure that the termination, when it occurs, is procedurally defensible. The HR business partner sitting across from you, nodding sympathetically, taking notes, assuring you they are there to help. They are documenting the conversation for the company's file. Anything you say about the manager, about the process, about personal circumstances, about frustrations, can be evaluated for its utility to the company's position. Seeking mediation from HR during a PIP is, in most cases, a strategic error. You are not escalating to a neutral party. You are adding material to the file that will be used to justify your exit. There are narrow exceptions: documented discrimination, documented harassment, documented retaliation for protected activity. But a general appeal to fairness, a plea that the manager is being unreasonable, a request that HR intervene in the performance assessment itself. These are not interventions HR is structured to deliver, and they will not be delivered. Here's the truth that changes the game. Many large companies would rather pay for a clean separation than absorb the cost of a contested one. Inside corporate finance and HR, the relevant instrument is often called a prompt exit package, formalized through a mutual separation agreement. The arrangement is a negotiated severance, typically accompanied by a general release of claims in which you agree not to pursue litigation in exchange for a defined sum, extended benefits, a health coverage bridge, and in many cases, a neutral reference. The amounts involved are often larger than employees realize, and in most cases, they are negotiable. What creates leverage is not your performance history. It is documentation, documented manager errors, inconsistent application of policy, evidence that similarly situated colleagues with comparable records were treated differently, emails that contradict the performance narrative in the PIP, any indication of discrimination, retaliation, favoritism, or procedural irregularity, wage, hour, or classification issues. Each bucket is a unit of negotiation capital. An employee entering the separation conversation with organized documentation and a calm posture typically negotiates a materially higher outcome than the company initially offers. The company does not want the fight. It wants the signed release. The release is the only thing it is actually buying, and the price of it is negotiable. The legal ground under a PIP is not uniform. The United States, through the at-will doctrine, sits at the most employer-favorable end of the developed world spectrum. In Canada, the standard is closer to just cause, and the threshold is high enough that most terminations without negotiated settlements carry meaningful wrongful dismissal exposure. In the United Kingdom, unfair dismissal claims run through employment tribunals with defined procedural protections. In Australia, the Fair Work Commission administers an unfair dismissal regime with compensation and reinstatement remedies. Across much of continental Europe, dismissal protection laws require substantive justification, and in many countries, works council consultation before a termination is lawful. The same PIP document carries different consequences in different legal systems. The leverage you hold varies accordingly. Know the jurisdiction under which you are actually working. It often matters more than the language on the plan itself. Checkouts, the rules. Rule 1. Never sign for agreement. Sign only for receipt. When the PIP document is handed over, you will be asked to sign it. The manager and HR will present this as routine acknowledgement. It is not routine. Write in your own hand next to your signature. Sign to acknowledge receipt, not agreement. Date it. Rule 2. Ask offensive questions in writing. Within 24 to 48 hours of the PIP meeting, send an email. For each performance concern listed, ask for the specific dates on which the deficient behavior occurred. Ask for the specific measurable standard against which performance is being evaluated and the source document in which that standard is published. These questions are not aggressive. They are documentary. They force the company to commit in writing to claims that, in most cases, cannot be substantiated. Rule 3. Make the subject access request. Where it exists, under GDPR in Europe, under similar frameworks elsewhere, it gives you the right to request all personal data the company holds about you. That includes emails, internal messages, calibration notes, performance reviews, and documents in which you are named. The manager who said the PIP was about performance may have written an email 6 weeks earlier describing their intention to exit you for reasons that have nothing to do with performance. That email exists. Ask for it. Rule 4. Keep a performance log on a personal device. From the day the cold shoulder is sensed, begin documenting. Never on company hardware. Never in company cloud storage. That log, maintained on a device the company cannot access, remote wipe or subpoena without formal legal process, is the single most valuable document you will own. The employees who win these negotiations are almost never the ones with the strongest performance records. They are the ones with the most complete private documentation. The PIP is a weaponized document more often than it is a developmental one. In most cases that proceed to a formal plan, the outcome is already directional. The process is a negotiation. The document is a piece of evidence, and the company is more concerned about the file being built on the other side than you have been taught to believe. Sign for receipt. Ask for specifics in writing. Organize the evidence. Make the subject access request. Understand the jurisdiction. Keep the log off the company laptop. And stop mistaking the tombstone for a ladder.